Film is one of those things that I feel is taken way too seriously, while at the same time being extremely underappreciated. I say underappreciated because I feel like films shape people. They teach values and explain aspects of life that are too complicated to explain in any other medium. I don't think people realize how many of their values were taught to them through the movies. I say they're taken too seriously because so many people seem to feel only one type of film, like a drama or a coming-of-age movie, can hold this level of importance and significance. I don't necessarily think that there's a certain genre or style of filmmaking that is the most important, but I feel one in particular isn't recognized for its significance, and that's animation. Animation is, to me, an extremely important genre that should be taken more seriously than it is because it's going to have a greater effect on its target audience. When I say target audience, I of course mean kids. Obviously, animation isn't just for children, but when speaking about the majority of people going to see animated movies, it's families. There's nothing wrong with this. I mean, kids are more excited about movies that look like this than movies that look like this. But I feel a lot of the time production companies look at their audience as just kids and nothing more than that. My issue here is that when a production company thinks like that and thinks only of how they can lure children to a theater, they think of the goofiest idea possible that sounds entertaining for kids. Like, hey, let's put a baby, right, in a suit. It's the Boss Baby. As a result, you get movies like this, the Emoji Movie, Ferdinand, etc. The problem with this is that I see each of these strange and borderline pointless films as being wasted potential. Given how much brain development happens at around the same age that people have an urge to see animated films, a lot of what we are watching around that age is most likely going to shape how we approach and understand our surroundings as we get older. That being said, if most of what a kid is watching is just useless garbage that only exists because people keep talking about it and it keeps making money, what are the kids really going to get out of it? Speaking from my own experience, the perspective of a parent is something I never thought of or even began to understand until I watched something like Finding Nemo. The whole idea of accomplishing something regardless of your appearance is something I was subtly taught through Shrek, as goofy as that sounds. And then you got Fantastic Mr. Fox that taught me how it's okay if the ending isn't exactly how you want it to be. The point is, film is one of the most accessible and subtle ways of communicating ideas, and I think animation, given its target audience, is meant to play this role the most. When it comes down to it, I think animation is a genius way of telling stories. It's allowing a team of filmmakers to do literally whatever the f they want. The possibilities for storytelling are endless, and on top of that, it has the ability to appeal to almost everyone if the film is done right. But it makes me sad after looking at these last Oscars. It scares me as to what direction the animation industry is moving towards. The only notable films in the Best Animated Feature category with a mainstream appeal out of the nominations was Coco, which is great. It's good to see Pixar still doing their thing, but for a genre with such a significant role in the future of society, you would think there would be a few others up there. I blame this on companies like Sony, who have pushed out films like the Smurfs, Open Season, the Pirates, whatever the f that is. They do have a few good ones like Surf's Up and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, but you get what I'm saying. I'm not against a goofy animation that doesn't have a ridiculous amount of heart. Like I just said, I enjoy movies like Surf's Up that can be silly and still feel like they had a purpose and a unique voice. I'm talking about films like Shark Tale that just didn't need to happen at all. If your movie isn't funny or unique enough to stick, and it also doesn't really have any heart to it, then why is it being made? It's funny to laugh at how bad the Minions movie was and how pointless the Emoji Movie ended up being, but if we're talking about these movies and kids are seeing them, those movies are going to keep happening. These production companies are going to be like, oh, well, we could work hard and make one of our good movies because we have the technology and the money to do so, but actually, f it, let's do something with Mario. Yeah, we like Mario, right? While we can all agree that Coco was the best animated film of the year, one of, if not the most talked about, was The Boss Baby. Not because of how great it is or about any of the messages, but because it's such a ridiculous idea that's fun to joke about. I'm not telling you not to joke about these movies, I literally do the same. I'm saying that animation companies should step back and rethink how much of an impact their films have on children's lives before they push out another pointless film. I feel grateful that I was able to grow up in an era where I had movies like Finding Nemo, Shrek, and Robots! Hell yeah! Starring gay icon Rodney Copperbottom. Oh my god, this movie's the best. Because I can genuinely say they had a positive effect on the way I think. I doubt in 10 years some dude is gonna be like, yeah, I think the Angry Birds movie really had an impact on me. So with all this being said, to Sony, DreamWorks, Disney, and even Pixar, consider the impact your films have. I know Boss Baby 2 is already in production, but let's just slow down before we start considering a third.